The Mike Farwell Show continues
on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Ho, 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 ho. Flying through the snow, can you hear him? Ho, ho, ho. He's so full of cheer, only has to work one day a year. Children in their beds, visions of sugar bombs fill their heads.
It is a little bit of Bob Rivers and Twisted Radio for Nate, number 8 on the official list of Farwell's Force members. That is I Am Santa Claus on your All Request Tuesday Christmas Songs edition. Our next guest joins me in studio. I always love the in-studio guests, and I can't tell you how much I love the story behind this book. It's called I Think It's a Sign That the Pun Also Rises. Its author, Mark Leslie, sits across from me in studio this morning. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Mike.
Thank you for making your way here 2 days before Christmas. I'm getting the sense that this must mean everything's done, right? Your shopping's done.
100%.
Okay.
You got to be, there's still baking to do.
I love it. And I also, as I said, love the story behind this book. I think it's a sign that the pun also rises. It was or is a chalkboard outside the home. Next thing you know, it's a book.
Yeah.
Take me through that story.
So it started, March 2020. The world changed a little bit. A lot more people were walking through the neighborhood. And I'm a writer. I work from home. And my stand-up desk overlooks the street. And I put a sign up initially, a Monty Python-inspired sign of you're entering the jurisdiction of the Silly Walks, Ministry of Silly Walks. And I encourage people to try Silly Walks as they walk past the house. I'd seen it online. I thought I would do that. And people loved it. People enjoyed it. And I thought I always have a skeleton because I tend to write scary stories, true ghost stories and things like that. I had a skeleton on the front bench in the front yard. And there was a chalk sign. My wife and I would jokingly do a countdown, 364 days till next Halloween. And then I changed it over and I started putting jokes beside the skeleton. And people would stop to read the jokes. And they were just stupid dad jokes because I like sharing them. People send them to me all the time. And people loved it so much, I continued to do that. But I had to keep a database of jokes to try and not repeat them. And I noticed over time, I had well over 1,000. So I thought, wouldn't it be neat to put it into a book collection? And that's kind of where this came from, because I thought, I really love sharing laughter. I love the smiles. I love God bless my neighbors, the people in the neighborhood where I live, because they encouraged me, and I kept doing it. 5 years later, every morning, try to put up a new joke and leave them something to laugh. And people will purposely stop in front of the house when they're driving. They'll stop in front of the house, read the joke, move on. It's just become sort of a tradition in our neighborhood now.
Chalking the board and making days for people that stop by.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
There is a home not too far from us where we sometimes walk with Rosie, our pandemic pup. Speaking of 2020, we got her in 2021.
Yeah.
But they also have a chalkboard outside, and oftentimes it's just an inspirational quote or something from literature. And I just enjoy the idea that somebody took the time to share this message with us as we walked past. Did you feel pressure any day as you were you're doing this every day for years, changing this joke on the board?
Well, I mean, when I travel, I try to put up a joke that will last a week, right. a more challenging one that maybe it's like some people have walked by and say, sometimes I read your sign and I walk 2 or 3 blocks and then I get it and I start to laugh and I go, those are the best ones that you don't get right away.
Right.
But yeah, there's a bit of pressure, but I write under pressure. I'm a procrastinating writer, so I love having that daily deadline. And people send me so many jokes. So again, I put them into a spreadsheet and then I tack them on, and now I have a way of tracking where I go, okay, what am I going to put today? Now, obviously it's Christmas jokes this time of year. Santa doesn't have to pay for parking because Parking is on the house.
I like it.
Stuff
Very
like that.
good.
Like
Yeah,
this time of year, I'll share Halloween and Christmas jokes and different themes. So the themes are often fun too. Springtime jokes, etc.
How does your family feel about this?
My wife encourages me. She's the one who created the sign for me and has given me some inspiring ideas. Now, sometimes what I love is she'll come home from work because I usually change it as she's leaving for the day to go to work. And when she comes back, she's like, I don't get it. And then sometimes it's a visual joke and you have to read it. You can't, like, hearing it doesn't work. Sometimes you have to hear it to get the play on words. She encourages me, which, again, people shouldn't encourage me.
All the man needs is a little encouragement, and the next thing you know, another book. And I emphasize another here, Mark, because you and I have chatted before. You had was it a Die Hard trivia?
Yeah,
no, it was Die Hard trivia.
Yeah, Die Hard trivia. Yippee-ki-yay, can't repeat the other word.
Right. And I felt as though I knew Die Hard well enough to excel. I did not excel. But you also shared with me, and you're wearing today your Del Griffith, who is John Candy's character in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, your Del Griffith T-shirt.
Yeah.
Because you've got The Canadian Mounted, which is the book that he's reading, Del Griffith is, on the plane or in the airport. In the movie. But my point in all of this, the long way around, is so many books. You are like the Stephen King of Waterloo region authorship here.
Oh my God, the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me. Thanks, Mike.
You're cranking out the material, though. Like, where does it all come from?
Well, I mean, I've watched Christmas Vacation and Die Hard and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles hundreds of times. I figured I may as well put that misspent youth to good use, collecting the trivia. And I don't know. I mean, I'm a writer. I'm a full-time writer, and I love storytelling, and I love collecting those trivia bits. Like, when quizzing you on your knowledge of some of our favorite holiday classics.
Right.
Whether or not we agree they're holiday classics doesn't matter. We do enjoy them, and we have fun talking about them. And it's the same thing with my true ghost story books. People love talking about spooky things and ghost stories. I love that engagement that I can have with people, not just in the writing of the material, but in the interactions that can happen after, somebody's read some of it.
What do you think it is about the puns or the dad jokes that just resonate so widely?
Well, I think it's one of those things that it's short and quick, right? And in the attention span of society today, a nice quick quip is good. But also, there's a lot of divisiveness and hostility in the world, and people are always at each other and pointing out negative things. I love to be able to just allow people to have a laugh. And oftentimes the laugh is self-deprecating humor and in that Del Griffith sort of way. And I think it's important to have that share. And then a great thing about a good silly pun or play on words or dad joke is people can roll their eyes, but they're having fun at the same time.
What is the process of putting together a book like for you? You described yourself as a procrastinating writer, but ultimately you have the finished product. What's your process like?
I get up early. I get up between 5 and 5:30. I feed the dog. I feed the cats. I put on the coffee, and then I begin writing while my wife is still sleeping and getting ready to get up for work for the day. And I tend to get my best work done in those wee hours when there's not any distractions, because I'm easily distracted. And then I collect them. So in this particular book, I have all these different jokes in this giant spreadsheet, well over 1,000. And I wanted to put a theme to them. I said, okay, here are walks into a bar jokes. I love walks into a bar jokes. So I had to have a whole chapter of walks into a bar. I had jokes that were meta jokes jokes and about dad jokes, right? Like, if you tell a dad joke and you're not a father, that's a faux pas. There's stuff like that, right? And then Halloween jokes, and I even have jokes that are best visual. So hearing them don't work, but when you look at like "I am livid" spelled out in Roman numerals as the joke, it works really, really well.
Sure.
And then trying to decide what's going to work in a joke book that's different than the way I would put it on a chalkboard. And so, obviously I didn't write all of the jokes, but I did adapt a good number of them for the purpose of the jokes. I'm not a big fan of the question-answer joke. I like it to be a statement because it's a sign. It's a single statement or a couple sentences to get the pun. And then just, kind of reading through it and saying, okay, this works. And even ironically, even the formatting of the book, I need a one-liner to fill the bottom of this page, so it flows better. So even in the process, I thought I had all the jokes. I would go, I need something that's only one line. So then I would go scramble and search, things people sent me, things I've liked on Instagram, even just do searches for, I need a themed joke about bars that's one line, and insert it there. So it's a real interesting process, and I would not want anyone to have to suffer through watching me do any of that work, because it's not organized in any way, shape, or form.
You and I were talking off the air as I was commenting on how much I've actually enjoyed being around the station these past couple of days, because it's so quiet and chill, and I actually feel like I can get more done. And you had mentioned a similar experience when you were working at an office in Toronto. What inspired you to leave that and become a writer?
Well, I'd been writing for 40 years, right? I started when I was 15 and got my first rejection back then. And I finally got to a point after, 35 years or whatever of writing, that I started to earn enough money that I didn't need to work full time. My partner, my wife now, has a great job and benefits. So I get the benefits from Liz. And I realized, okay, we can live on my moderate income as a writer plus what she makes, and we're fine. And I didn't want to have to drive to Toronto anymore, and it was great. It actually took me about a year because I had all the time in the world. I just sat on the couch and watched cat videos online and ate bonbons, stuff like that. And then when I started to do some part-time consulting work, that's when I really cracked down, because when I limited my time to 20 hours a week, that helped inspire me to write more. It was almost like the tortoise and the hare. I had all the time in the world, so I did nothing.
Right.
And even I just turned a book into a publisher December 1st. I did most of the writing in the last 2 months before December 1st, which was my deadline to get that in.
What was your first rejection?
My first rejection was a horror story I sent into CBC, a radio contest in Sudbury. That was just not the right market. I learned that over time, to find the right market for the right, my movie trivia books are 80s nostalgia. So they're going to be people of a certain age, typically, who remember those movies from their youth. And so, yeah, that horror story sent into a literary contest was probably not the right thing.
Fair enough. You live and learn, right?
Yeah. Well-deserved rejection.
And all these years later, still cranking them out. Where, Mark, can we get our hands on I Think It's a Sign That the Pun Also Rises?
Well, it is available online. You should be able to order it anywhere online. I do know that Wordsworth Books in Uptown Waterloo does have some copies on the shelf. And I'm a big fan of supporting your local independent businesses.
You and me both. I love the work that David and the team do over there at Wordsworth. So I'll encourage you to check it out there or look for it online. I Think It's a Sign That the Pun Also Rises by Mark Leslie. Would you mind, I know I'm already imposing on your time 2 days before Christmas, but would you stick around a little longer with me?
I'd love to.
Thank you. Because you and I, and we again talked, we've alluded to it in this conversation, and in your email, when we were exchanging emails to get you here today, you said, perhaps if we just talk about I Think It's a Sign That the Pun Also Rises, we could stay away from the more divisive, toe-to-toe, blow-by-blow debate that always rages this time of year, and you and I are on opposite sides of it. But I think it might be instructive to demonstrate that we can have this conversation and still part ways with the best seasonal intentions.
100%.
Okay. Mark Leslie is going to stay with us for a moment longer, and if you haven't figured it out yet, he's on one side. I was trying to be biased. I didn't. He's on one side of the diehard Christmas movie debate, and you probably know the side that I'm on. We're going to talk about that as we continue with author Mark Leslie on the show this morning. It's the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Police, not my dad. The police, not my dad. Police bust his dad. Drunk in public, wasted on eggnog. Police, not my dad. The police, not my dad. Police must be sad, drunk in public, trashed on eggnog.
That is Bob Noxious and Police Nabbed My Dad by request for Greg on this All Request Tuesday Christmas Songs edition. I'm in studio with author Mark Leslie, whose latest is called I Think It's a Sign That the Pun Also Rises. Dad jokes, puns, quips, laughs, groaners, and playful ponderings. Get it at Wordsworth Books in Uptown Waterloo, or look for it online. I think it's a sign that the pun also rises. I love the inspiration for the book. Started with a chalkboard outside the home. People enjoyed it so much, it becomes a collection of those dad jokes in book form. Mark also has an opinion, like so many of us do, on Die Hard. I think it's a great movie, period. Action movie for sure. I do not believe it to be a Christmas movie. Let me share with you this, Mark, from none other than Macaulay Culkin. When he was a younger man, he was, of course, the star of Home Alone. And he says that Die Hard, while it's set during Christmas, the story would still function if it took place during any other holiday, like even St. Patrick's Day. In contrast, Culkin says Home Alone is inseparable from Christmas because the holiday setting is central to the plot, themes, and, this is important to me, the emotional core of the film. Why do you insist that Die Hard checks those boxes?
Well, it does involve heavy elements of Christmas. The soundtrack itself has more music, Christmas music, than White Christmas, for example. Speaking of White Christmas, it actually involves fewer deaths when you consider when that movie was set.
I haven't heard that one before. That's good.
I mean, the Christmas party being held in a vacant office, as you know, like this time of year, it's quiet. There's not as many people around and things like that is a very significant element, which you wouldn't necessarily get on some of the other holidays. And think about the Christmas obligations. You're obligated to go to a party you don't want to go to, right? And to sometimes hang out with people you don't want to hang out to, which is very much Christmas. And that could be Thanksgiving, admittedly, but we've got Planes, Trains, and Automobiles has got that one beautifully covered.
Right.
And then there's just so many elements in it where they reference Christmas. And, you know, Bruce Willis gets kissed by that guy and is like, oh, my God, California, right? And all of the things he sees in the costume when he sends down that first terrorist in the Santa outfit with Now I Have a Machine Gun. Even Hans Gruber talks about Christmas miracles and all of those elements. And think about the fact that there's this mysterious stranger who comes down from above like Santa Claus, you know, to not give and save the day. And yeah, there's just so many of those elements that I think really make it a Christmas film. Now, I'm also basing this on the fact that I did see the script writer, one of the writers who polished up the script and made it what it is today. His take on it, and it was like you have to go with the writer's perspective, Mike.
But what about Bruce Willis's perspective? He is famous for having stated very clearly, it's not a Christmas movie, it's a Bruce Willis movie.
He did, and here's the thing: is this was done during a roast, like a celebration of Bruce Willis, and he is a very, very funny guy. He called it a GD Bruce Willis movie.
Yes.
It's because it's about him, and that was him being funny and snarky. He wasn't actually definitively saying it wasn't Christmas.
I got you.
We've even seen it's the greatest Christmas story ever told, and I think it was 20th Century Fox that released that about, was it 10 years ago? Or 11 years ago on one of the anniversaries.
I have been counting down by obligation, charitable obligation, Hans Gruber falling from Nakatomi Tower to his eventual death. I keep reminding folks that as I do this countdown in the studio. Yeah. Somebody dies, and it's not Christmas until Hans Gruber is dead? Yeah. Surely, Mark, this is not the emotional core we're looking for.
No, it's not, but that's also parody, and that's also something, the contrast. So good triumphs over evil. Well, the good wins, which is what Christmas is about, is good coming to the world. And so by having this countdown, and obviously with that beautiful Nakatomi Tower countdown of Hans falling, I think that kind of speaks its piece. But there's also an interesting respect that both John McClane and Hans Gruber have for one another, even though they are adversaries. You know, that scene with Hans pretending to be a hostage.
Yeah.
And that happened because Alan Rickman was showing off an American accent backstage, like off script, and the writer went by and went, "Oh my God, we got to use this," because in the original script they never meet, and that's a very beautiful scene that shows the two of them interacting.
I love the work you do. You've never been more wrong in this particular case, but thanks for coming by. Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Merry Christmas, Mike.
Mark Leslie is the author. Get the latest book. I think it's a sign that the pun also rises. And start your phone calls now, because the last talkback of 2025 begins after this on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.